It's not just Nicole Richie and Paris Hilton who are famous enough to get their hands on the new Sidekick. PhoneScoop got one too. Current T-Mobile subscribers can pick one up on June 28th. For those of you who have been waiting until this comes out to switch to T-Mobile, you won't get yours until July 10th. It still has the same trademark spring-loaded swiveling screen with a full keyboard underneath. Instead of the old rubber-coated keyboard, there's now a plastic one, but it still features the same fantastic layout. The Sidekick is held horizontally to do everything except talk on like you do on a traditional cell phone, which you'll do very rarely, especially now that it supports Bluetooth headsets. On the left side of the face we have the menu and jump buttons as well as the old D-pad, which you'll use rarely if ever, since on the right side there's now a trackball. It's surrounded by the Sidekick cancel and OK keys as well as send and end keys. The trackball is responsive and easy to use, and we found ourselves zipping around applications and menus with it in no time. On the bottom are the volume keys and the power button, as well as the headset jack for stereo headsets. The Sidekick 3 now has an MP3 player. On the right side are the USB and charging ports, and on the top are two shoulder buttons, which are most often used when taking pictures. The camera has been upgraded to a 1.3 megapixel, but it still has a measly flash. The back cover is now removable. Underneath lies a memory card slot and a replaceable battery, so you heavy talkers can carry a spare. It's hard to say whether it's the snappy spring-loaded hinge or the keyboard that lies beneath it that makes the Sidekick so popular. The keyboard is well laid out with huge keys. It has an actual row of number keys, which is oddly rare on QWERTY phones, and easily accessible internet punctuation like @ and dot. Since many of the first people to run out and buy a Sidekick 3 will be Sidekick 2 owners, here's how the two compare. Side by side, the 3 looks a lot smaller than the old blocky 2, but when we stack them on top of each other, whoa, there's not much of a difference, is there? From the top they look the same, but you can see the 3 isn't quite as long. They're almost exactly the same thickness, but notice that the 3 is tapered at the edges. It doesn't have the PSP-styled grips like the 2. The big difference is the width. The 3 is much narrower, and you can really feel that when holding it in your hand. Our old battle-worn Sidekick 2 doesn't spring open with quite as much force, but it's a smoother action. The 3 springs open with gusto, but there's a lot of rattling while it does. The keyboards and the keys are the same size and the same layout. We prefer the nice sticky rubber of the old Sidekick 2 keyboard, but have talked to many others who prefer the smooth flow of the one on the 3. It's personal preference, I guess. Sure, it's nice that the new Sidekick is smaller, but if you're a Sidekick 2 user, what you really want to see is how much faster the new one is. Well, we've arranged a little test to show you just that. We opened up both browsers to the same page. Now we're going to visit our bookmarks and load Engadget. We would have loaded PhoneScoop, but it doesn't look so hot on the Sidekick. We're working on that. We'll even give the Sidekick 2 a head start. Ready? Go. Now they're both off, asking the server for the same web page. No difference so far, right? But just wait. The server takes the same amount of time to process the site request, regardless of the network's data speed. But once the phones start downloading the website, that's where the speed increase is visible. Oh, we have a response. Is it the same? Oh no, watch the Sidekick 3 go as the Sidekick 2 just crawls along. The Sidekick 3 has already loaded the page and is running the JavaScript, while the Sidekick 2 is still trying to download all those pictures Engadget likes to put up. We'll spare you the agony of waiting for these to churn through the JavaScript, and just get to the part where the Sidekick 3 finishes the script right now, and you can start browsing on the Sidekick 3 while the Sidekick 2 is still churning through all that code. A music player is what the Sidekick has needed all along. After all, it's pretty hard to believe that all the rappers use a phone they can't actually play their own music on. Drop MP3s onto the memory card and you'll find them sorted here for you. Everything is sorted by ID3 tags, which is nice. But getting to the music you want isn't quite as intuitive as on an iPod. It takes an extra click or two to dig down and get the music playing, but once you do, it's pretty impressive. Just note that the cancel button, of all the keys they could have chosen, is the play-pause key. The default volume is pretty soft, but the music player volume can be adjusted separately from the rest of the phone. So we're going to turn it up and let you listen to some Jimmy Edgar while we attend to these IMs that have been nagging us in the menu bar the whole time. The music player, like everything else on the Sidekick, keeps working even when you switch to another application.